And welcome to the Herald's rugby coverage, one of our special videos that we'll be doing throughout the Rugby World Cup. And the excitement levels are skyrocketing this afternoon as Scotland's first game is little under 2 hours away, obviously against the Springboks in Marseille. And there for us is Alasdair Mackenzie. Alasdair, how are you?
Good, hot. It's been absolutely roasting today. I think today's actually been the hottest day. Been here since Thursday, and and obviously it's an earlier kickoff. And it was last night for England Argentina, so I expect the players will be feeling it. But I certainly am, and I think the fans who were kind of gathering in the town earlier looked like they were feeling it a little bit as well.
How's it been around the city? Obviously, presumably you were there last night and today. Is there quite a lot of Scotland fans you see about the place? And how many do you expect to actually be in the ground today? Is there any kind of estimate of how many that could be?
I'm not sure numbers-wise. I mean, you can only really do the eye test, which coming in, being in town all weekend, obviously we had England-Argentina last night, so there's been 4 big followings around town over this weekend. And yeah, tons of Scots. I mean, obviously they stick out, everyone's wearing kilts, so that always jumps out when you're looking around. But on the Metro over, it looked like a pretty good 50-50 mix to me in terms of Springboks and to Scotland fans. Certainly big and quite loud travelling support, but the Springboks likewise. So I imagine it'll be fairly even, but obviously I'm not actually sure exactly what the ticket sales have looked like.
And you're also there in the stadium now. I mean, it's a stunning venue for a rugby game, isn't it?
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, I was here last night for England Argentina. First time being in the Velodrome. I've heard a lot about it, but it definitely does live up to the hype. It's one of those where you wonder if it can really be as amazing as everyone kind of says it, as who's been here before. But incredibly steep stands, like really feel like you're right on top of the pitch, even from the very top where the press box is. And atmosphere is fantastic. I mean, even obviously last night it was a bit of an attritional game. There was only one try right at the end, so not a whole load to get excited about. But even then, the atmosphere was fantastic, and I think it's going to be an incredible venue. They were talking about it. Sia Khaleesi a few days ago was talking about coming here in the autumn test when France just beat South Africa. He said it's one of the most intense atmospheres he's ever been in his life. Obviously, that's a bit different playing against France than it will be against Scotland, but he had an enormous amount of respect for the venue and really was waxing lyrical about what it's like to play here.
Yeah, let's just talk about the game then. It's not the easiest start that Scotland could have hoped for in the tournament, playing the reigning champions. The Springboks will be amongst the favourites to go on and win the tournament. Putting you on the spot a little bit, Alasdair, but can Scotland get a result? And if Scotland are to get a result, what do they need to do?
Can they get a result? Of course they can. I mean, look, this is a formidable Springboks team, and obviously they've jumped up to being favourites for lots of people, including myself. I had them down in my predictions as my champions, but we have to constantly remind ourselves of what this Scotland team is capable of. I think a lot of people coming into this game look at the recent form, look at the 7 defeats in a row over the last 13 years against Springboks. Although we've taken out all these big teams, we've never beaten South Africa. That's true, but that was also the case about all the other bogeys we had, whether it was going to Cardiff and winning, whether it was going to Paris and winning, going to Twickenham and winning, and we have managed on all those occasions to get rid of those bogeys in our history. So I think the key for me is going to be really that back row battle, because Scotland are going to have to rely on getting quick ball, and they need those breakdowns to operate quickly. They can't allow South Africa to slow things down too much. And how that combination of Darge and Richie operate against Khaleesi and Steph du Toit, that's going to be fascinating for me to see. The Springboks have been talking all week about how they're ready for this. They're ready for Scotland's desire to have quick ball. They're ready for Scotland wanting to get it to Russell and let him dictate things. So I would expect that they're going to be exceptionally well prepared for what Scotland are ready to bring. So yeah, I think that's an area that could be really make or break.
Yeah, I think the pack's going to be important, isn't it? Looking back to the last time these two teams played in 2021, and Scotland conceded 5 scrum penalties and 15 in total. That's an area they'll need to address today and not give away so many cheap penalties.
Absolutely. Discipline will be key, as it always is. I think that's it's very tempting to look at this as and the South African power game and how that's been an issue for Scotland in the past, and the physical element being something that they're going to struggle with. But if you flip it around the other side and you look at the back line, I think Scotland absolutely can say they match up to what South Africa have in the backs. So the Springboks have been saying all week that they have respect for a lot of respect for this Scottish backline, and it's really about how they can utilise that, making sure they're able to get the ball out to the players who can make a difference in this team. Like you say, I think discipline is going to be absolutely key, but that's an area where Scotland have improved. I think defensively, Scotland have improved a lot. But look, I mean, what it comes down to essentially is that Scotland can play at their best and still lose tonight. That's the depressing truth about this match, because they're up against a formidable Springbok side, and once the benches empty out in the second half as well, you're going to see that kind of squad depth that the Boks have in particular. So it's a huge test. It's an absolutely massive test, but I don't think they would have it any other way. And for Scotland, like I say, it's an opportunity to take down yet another one of these kind of losing runs that they've been smashing in recent years.
You're obviously over there, Alasdair. I mean, what's the feeling around kind of the Scotland camp, like amongst the journalists? Is it a case of, they appreciate the challenge that's facing them today, but there's also a quiet confidence about the quality in the group?
Yeah, I mean, they do seem confident, and I think that Gregor Townsend was saying the other day around the team announcement that the underdogs tag can be very useful. The feeling that it is a shot to nothing almost, that this is an opportunity to just lay it all out there because so little is expected of you, can be something that you can use to your advantage. You can take some of the pressure off, but also they have to have that belief that they can do this, that they are good enough. And I think, to be honest, when you look at this team now, I don't see why they shouldn't believe that, because this is a team that have propelled themselves into the top 5 in the world and really beaten almost all of the big name sides in the world in recent years. So I think they will have that inner belief, and it's all about how you transform that. I mean, the more worrying thing for me has been being around the Springboks camp this week and seeing how ultra relaxed they are. I mean, they're almost horizontal in how relaxed the players seem, and they have been thriving in this heat. They've been enjoying the challenge of taking that on and talking about that. And they seem supremely well prepared, supremely confident, and very relaxed. And they've all been talking about this being the biggest game of their World Cup. Forget about Ireland if we can get a win against Scotland in the opener. I mean, don't forget 4 years ago, they lost the opening game to New Zealand, still went on to win the tournament, but also lost to Japan in 2015. And they have a history of having awkward openings to the tournament. So that's definitely something that they this time have been approaching and saying, we're not going to let that happen this time.
Yeah, no, let's hopefully they have another awkward afternoon or evening even over in Marseille, and Scotland can get the win. I mean, you look at where Scotland are dangerous. I mean, when people look at Scotland's strengths, it's difficult to look beyond Finn Russell and his maverick sort of qualities at fly half at the back three, and Kinghorn, Graham and Van der Merwe are very strong as well and exciting. And if they can get good ball and run at the Springboks, then that could be an opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's space there to be had, the talent that is in that Scottish backline is able to exploit that almost better than anyone. So yeah, like I said before, I think it's about making sure you can get these dangerous players involved in the game as much as possible. Get Duhan crashing into balls, get Darcy on the ball as much as possible, because I mean, Darcy's try-scoring record is just absolutely phenomenal, and he's not going to care who he's up against. He's going to be making beeline for the try line as soon as he gets his hand on the ball. So I think, like you say, a lot of the attention will be on Finn Russell, but I don't think that's a bad thing, because I think Finn Russell's a phenomenal player, world class 10, but he isn't all that Scotland have. He isn't the only danger in that team, and so the more people talk about him like he is, the more attention that's put on Finn Russell as being the creator that makes or breaks this game, maybe the better for Scotland, because even if he is playing a more stripped back, simple game, there are still enough dangerous players on this team to make an impact. So it's not all about Finn, even though I think we've seen in recent years that, you know, him having one of those nights or not having one of those nights can be decisive in which way the result goes.
Yeah, Darcy Graham's record, 19 tries in 35 tests. It's pretty impressive. So, you know, he was, in terms of the team news, Darcy Graham is probably the biggest one, the question mark over his fitness, and he was okay. I mean, if you look at the starting 15, did you anticipate anything different from what Townsend named on Friday?
In terms of starting 15, no, I think it almost picks itself, to be honest, at this point. I think for me, the bigger surprise was not seeing Kyle Steyn on the bench, especially the impact he had in the Six Nations and in the warm-up games.
Yeah,
I mean,
nine tries
about,
and 13 for Steyn. 9 tries and 13. So.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, for all that we talk about Darcy and Duhan's try scoring record, Steyn's not much worse off. So yeah, I think, you know, Ollie Smith himself has you know, putting some great performances in the Scotland shirt, but come Redpath, not a player we've seen as much of perhaps as we would have hoped to by this stage. So it's a huge opportunity for him, and I think it's potentially encouraging that Scotland have avoided the 6-2 split. They're sitting there, they're not saying we're going to try and match you at what you're best at. We're going to actually, you know, make the most of the weapons that we've got and the game plan that we're best at. So we'll see how that pans out. But I think the bench is definitely more surprising than the starting 15, which is incredibly settled now.
Yeah, Arthur, won't keep you too long. Just to say to everyone, we will be doing these live videos throughout the World Cup. We'll every time there's a team announcement, we'll have a live video. We'll come live from the stadium or in every game. Alasdair and David are over there in France, so it's fantastic coverage. We will pick it up and advertise it more. We've obviously just launched it this week, but thank you for everyone who has tuned in so far, and we'll ramp these up as the week goes on, and we give you the best coverage of the Rugby World Cup. Alice, I won't put you on the spot. Well, I'm going to put you on the spot. I mean, prediction. Not necessarily. You can give me a score if you want. You can give me just the game plan and who wins. But I mean, what do you think it will be?
Well, I've kind of cornered myself with this by already predicting South Africa are going to win the tournament. So it's a heart and head one, isn't it? I do think Scotland can do this, but if I'm going to, you know, put my colours to the mast and make a prediction, I think I would probably say South Africa by 8. Hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, I hope I'm wrong too. I'll let you get off. So you're obviously over there, Alasdair, and David Barnes is over there as well. So stay tuned to the Herald, our website and our social media channels, all the coverage, post-match, match report, hearing from both camps after the game. Stay tuned to the Herald, and we will be back tomorrow with all the reaction to the game and hopefully celebrating a Scotland win. Alasdair, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. Yeah, hope for the best. Cheers.
Cheers.